Yo, welcome back to episode 17 of the Splat Sports Podcast. The boys are all here, gang's all here. It's been a week for the boys, but school's winding down, which you know what that means. It means a lot of content possibly coming from the boys. Are we going to deliver on that? But we're here. It's been a fun week of sports. We have a lot to talk about. Let's just jump into it. NBA playoffs are happening right now. The Indiana Pacers beat the Knicks tonight on not really a buzzer beater, but the dagger. Who hit it? Tyrese Halliburton, I'm pretty sure.
No, Andrew
Nope.
Nembhard.
Andrew Nembhard. I don't even know who that dude is, okay? But he pulled up from about 40 feet. I was watching it and drained that Johnson, as they say. Just down the hole. Pacers win 2-1. Knicks are still leading, though. I think the Knicks are very dangerous right now heading into the playoffs. Not heading into it, in the playoffs. They look pretty good. Kind of scaring my Celtics right now, even though the Celtics did lose pretty badly to the Cavs yesterday. But now we have the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. It's on live right now. The Nuggets are whooping the Timberwolves. Barrett, thoughts?
Yeah, I was very surprised with how the first two games played out, especially that second game. The Timberwolves defense was phenomenal. But I really felt like they kind of rattled the Nuggets, and you saw Jamal Murray getting very frustrated. Mike Malone stormed out on the court after a no call on a charge or something like that, and cussing out the refs. The refs were very professional, I thought, and kind of kept their composure and didn't call any technical fouls on Malone. And then Murray throws a heat pack for his knee out on the court, and he's complaining the whole time. And I really just felt like the Timberwolves ball pressure, especially from Jaden McDaniels and Nikhil Alexander Walker, really just kind of took the Nuggets out of their game, and it just affected them the whole game. And so obviously they've bounced back very well from it. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of games left to play in this game right now, but they're up to a pretty big lead. So I think it's shown the Nuggets just their championship experience, and they know that this is not their first time going through it. Whereas the Timberwolves, it pretty much is their first time making a deep playoff push. So I think the Nuggets will kind of even this series out over the course of the next few games with their championship experience, and I think it'll be a very fun series to pay attention to, and I think it'll probably go to a game 7.
There you go. Giros, your thoughts? Your Pacers? You're supporting your Pacers right now. You're a big Tyrese Halliburton fan, I hear. The word on the street is. Giros, what's your thought on the Pacers? Pacers big win tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they won. Going in game 4, Knicks are up 2-1. I do agree with you, Hunter, that the Knicks are a threat, but I do feel like their play style in which they try to make every game close. They're only playing 6, 7 guys. 2 of them are banged up. I feel like that could cost them if they do win the series against a team like the Celtics. But yeah, I think this would be. I think Barrett said that the Timberwolves and Nuggets will go 7. I think this series could. I think it's going to be a good series, especially if OG gets back, if Brunson's foothills. So yeah, I just think that I don't know, honestly, kind of a toss up. I think the home team's going to win each game, so I would give the edge to the Knicks right now, but it'll be a toss up, I think.
Yeah, watching Brunson play tonight, it looked like he was in not a great amount of pain, but he just wasn't playing himself, playing like how he usually did, especially not how he looked in the first round. He looked incredibly scary, kind of like Anthony Edwards has been looking in these recent playoff games. Is he the new face of the NBA, Anthony Edwards?
Not yet. I think give him another year or so, maybe. I feel like this year the face of the NBA is kind of a mix of players. I think you could go maybe Jokic or Embiid or maybe even Wemby. I think Wemby's got a lot of popularity, but Edwards is definitely up there. And then obviously you got to throw in names like LeBron, Curry, KD, Giannis, kind of the older people. But I think this year's kind of been a mix of kind of like what I would call the new generation and the old generation. But I think as you move into these next year and the year after that, I think you'll start to see people like LeBron and Curry kind of take a back seat to the newer players like Jokic, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Halliburton, John Morant, all those people. So I would say not yet, but I think in the next couple of years he'll definitely be one of the faces of the NBA.
There you go. We also had a new coach down in Phoenix today. Mike Budenholzer, former Bucks head coach, got paid a buttload of money for a 5-year deal down there in Phoenix. I don't think that they're going to win any games because they don't really have a big man or a point guard. Too many shooters, not enough passers down in Phoenix. But Frank Vogel fired after 1 year. And yeah. We also had the NBA awards. I don't know if that's a topic or not. It might be. Is it a topic? Oh my gosh, look at that. We also had the NBA awards. Jokic winning MVP. It's his third one. Who else would have thought? Wembanyama wins Rookie of the Year. Curry wins Clutch Player of the Year. Gobert wins Defensive Player of the Year. Am I missing? Nas Reed, Sixth Man of the Year. Let's go. We're big Nas Reed supporters here on the podcast. I mean, who won Coach of the Year? Was it the Thunder dude?
Thunder's coach.
Yes.
Yep. I think that's the only other. Are we missing an award? I feel like we are, but I don't think we are.
Karl-Anthony Towns won like social justice player of the award or something.
Oh yes, the Social Justice Player Award. Thanks, US.
Yep.
So that was the NBA awards for you. No surprises, really. I think Defensive Player was the only real contested race, I guess you could say. Wembanyama versus Gobert. Really, but I feel like the NBA awards were pretty self-explanatory this year, unlike past years. So yeah.
Especially with like the game limit rule.
Yeah. Game limit rule is interesting. I like it, but it's also I feel like it's going to screw someone
It screwed
over.
Embiid over this year because
It
he was
did
the
screw
front
Embiid
before he
over.
got injured.
That is true. But yeah, that's the NBA awards. All right, Barrett, you want to talk about this? Take it away.
So we haven't posted in a couple weeks, and there's been a lot of stuff happening in like all areas of sports, but college basketball is in the kind of the transfer portal season. I know we talked a lot about, Grant Hunter did kind of before I joined in on the show, but like the college football transfer portal, and me and G Russ being like college basketball, I guess, enthusiasts. I kind of prefer college basketball more than college football in some areas. But so I was paying attention to it, and it's just I think some teams that have had good portal seasons, in my opinion, have been Kansas, Alabama, and I think Kentucky. I know we were making fun of them earlier in one of the other shows, but I think they've had a very nice portal season, and their team, I think, that is going to be slept on by a couple of people. And then Arkansas, obviously, with John Calipari's had a very nice season, but Kansas has pulled in a lot of elite guards to kind of complement Hunter Dickinson. Obviously, Jawan Harris is coming back. I think they'll kind of return to a former Kansas basketball that we all kind of have come to know. Obviously, they had a pretty disappointing end of the season this year with battling a lot of injuries, and I think they'll have a lot better depth this year. They've got a pretty good recruiting class coming in as well. So I think the Jayhawks will be back. And then the Alabama Crimson Tide, I think Nate Oates is kind of, in my opinion, proved to be one of the best recruiting coaches in the nation. He's constantly pulling in top recruiting classes. And then on top of that, they added a great portal class with Clifford Amorie, the transfer center from Rutgers, Chris Youngblood, the guard from Southern Florida. They added Aiden Holloway, guard from Auburn. They got him to come to the rival school, which is kind of, you don't see that very often. Well, you do nowadays, but didn't see that a lot back then. So I think Bama's going to be I think they're going to be similar to how they were last year, especially if Mark Sears comes back. Grant Nelson just recently announced he's returning as well. So look out for the Tide as well. Kentucky, Mark Pope, in my opinion, has been surprisingly good in pulling in some transfers. I did not think that they were going to have any success, especially in the first couple of years of his coaching. era, I guess, of pulling in top recruits. I thought it was going to be kind of the BYU team just came and followed him, but it's really proven to kind of be a little bit different than that. They pulled in this guy from Wake Forest, who's a nice big man, a guy from Oklahoma State. Kobe Bray, the best shooter in college basketball last year from Dayton. He kind of shocked everyone and went to Kentucky. A lot of people thought he was going to go to Kansas as well. They pulled in, I'm trying to think, but they've gotten a lot of Kentucky people to Trent Noah, who was committed to South Carolina. He recently decommitted and committed to Kentucky. Me and Grant have actually seen him play live. He's pretty good, I'll admit. We'll see how he does in the SEC, but he's really good. Pope's kind of tapping into Kentucky kids a little bit. So yeah, I think he's building a pretty decent culture. We'll see how he does like in high school recruiting, but for now, yeah, the Cat's looking pretty solid. And then John Calipari is kind of doing what John Calipari does. He's gotten a lot of his former Kentucky commits to kind of come over with him to Arkansas, like Boogie Flan, Billy Richmond. Those are the main two that kind of come to mind. I know I'm missing one else, but yeah. And then he's pulled in Jonas Adu, who's a former Tennessee Vol, pretty good player, a little soft, but pretty good player. He pulled in John L. Davis, who was like the main guy in FAU's big magical tournament run 2 years ago. So he's a really good player. They've just pulled in a lot of big name people, and I think that the Razorbacks will be a team to watch out this year. I think they'll be probably ranked in the top 10 all of next year as well. So yeah, that's college basketball for now. There's still a couple big name recruits like Chaz Lanier, who's they're going through the pre-draft process, kind of weighing their options out and stuff. But yeah, I think we just got to keep waiting on, how that process goes, and then we'll be able to kind of, in my opinion, make our predictions for the next year. So
there you go. Next topic is the Major League of Baseball. The Yankees, they're starting to win again, pitching pretty good. Aaron Judge still in a slump, breaking my heart. Played well against the Astros, stacked about 18 runs on those guys. Just your Braves doing what the Braves do, Dodgers doing what the Dodgers do, essentially. Just it looks like you have something to say. What would you like to say, Grant Russell?
Yeah, we've been struggling. Our core of Acuna has been struggling. Riley's been struggling. Olson's been struggling. But we did get swept by the Dodgers, so there is that on the West Coast trip. But it's been, Olson's batting under 200 right now. But if you look at his exit velo and his barrel percentage, it's the exact same as last year. So I don't want to sit here and call him like probably the most unlucky player in baseball right now. But he did just hit a home run today. Acuna hit a homer today, like 470 or something. Albies hit one today, so hopefully we're changing what we're doing. Our pitching's been great. Chris Sale's looked really good. Even with Spencer Strider out, Ronaldo Lopez has looked great with a sub-2 ERA. Fried's turning the corner, had the complete game a couple last week. So yeah, I think we're turning a corner. I mean, right now I don't even think we're the best team in our own division. Phillies are really hot. Dodgers are looking good. So the NL is like sneaky deep this year. Like the Central teams, like everybody was sleeping on the Brewers. Brewers started out well. I think they're fading a little bit now. Cubs are doing pretty good, but yeah, I think the NL there's going to be problems in the NL this year for numerous teams.
Speaking of the National League Central, the Pittsburgh Pirates called up their number one prospect, and I really believe the MLB's number one prospect, Paul Skeens, to come and pitch for the Pirates. G-Russ thinks that they called him up a little too early. G-Russ, why do you think that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of I've looked around on Twitter and stuff, and I've looked at YouTube for some stuff, and a lot of people agree that it's too early. And I know that, sounds like, well, you're like the number one, number two prospect in baseball. Why shouldn't you be called up? He's been on an inning count all year. I believe he hasn't gone more than, I believe it's 40 pitches, and most innings he's thrown was like 3 1/3, 3 2/3 maybe. So I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously the Pirates. I mean, Pirates are. I think they're only a couple games under
They're not.
500 right now.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah, they're
terrible this
not.
year.
They're not bad.
Yeah, yeah. It's just. I mean, maybe it's just similar to last year when they got off to that hot start. But I mean, I guess they're trying to do maybe what the Reds did last year, call everybody up. O'Neal Cruz has looked really good, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it's too early, especially for a guy who's been on an inning count to start his major league career in the minors. So I don't know. I mean, it could work out perfectly fine. I mean, he has a sub one ERA. I think it's like 0.65, but I don't know. I just think it's too early.
Yeah, but you also see the success in guys like Jackson Churio, a guy who many people said was called up a little too early. He's had pretty good
Jackson
major league
Holiday,
success.
you saw what happened to him.
Okay, well, sometimes beggars can't be choosers, okay, G-Russ? Anyway, our next topic. Oh, Barrett, I'm going to let you go first on this one because
Okay.
yeah, you got yourself out there, man.
Yeah. Do we want to go in like order of like whose team drafted?
I'll go last.
Okay. So my Washington Commanders had the second overall pick in the draft, and there was a little bit. I think leading up to the draft, there was a big question of would we take Jaden Daniels or would we take Drake May? Adam Peters and his staff, who I have full confidence in, they're doing. I think, in my opinion, they're doing a great job of trying to turn this franchise around. They select Jaden Daniels, who won the Heisman Trophy this year, had a great season at LSU. In my opinion, was kind of one of the reasons why they were really relevant. I think them and that receiving core were really good, but they choose Jaden Daniels, and he, in my opinion, I think this is going to be a great pick. He seems really happy to be there, from what I can tell. I feel like every picture I see him in, he's wearing his like hat that they gave him when he like walked out on stage. A lot of Commanders fans are kind of comparing him to Robert Griffin III, who obviously his career did not turn out very well, but I think, in my opinion, that was a large part due to the misjudgment of Jay Gruden and his terrible staff and Dan Snyder putting him out there in that playoff game when he was already kind of banged up, and ultimately, we all know what happened there with his knee injury. But I think it's an exciting time to be a Commanders fan. I think we graded out as one of like arguably the best team in the draft. So we kind of shored up some needs on the O line. We got a great defensive lineman from Illinois, and then we got a scrappy corner from Michigan, who obviously national championship experience. You can't go wrong with that. So I'm really excited for this upcoming season. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air for Washington fans, as we've never recently been a part of a franchise that's kind of making some winning moves and is really committed to like becoming a good football team. So I'm really looking forward to this season. So G Russ, I'll pass the baton to you now.
Yeah, the Saints had a middle of the pack pick. I think it was either 14 or 15. We didn't have a sexy draft. We didn't have a top pick. We couldn't, pick an outstanding quarterback like Jaden Daniels, like the Commanders did. So we went out and got Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. I didn't really know much about this guy, but we did need somebody like that to replace Ryan Ramczyk, who's been a veteran tackle, but he has been injured a lot. So they answered the question there. They went and got Kool-Aid McKinstry to fulfill that spot at the corner. I think the Saints have one of the best secondaries, especially veteran, because they already have Marshawn Lattimore, they have the Honey Badger, and to go out and get probably before this year started, get Kool-Aid McKinstry, who was probably one of, if not the most sought after corner before this year, before his teammate past him. But yeah, and then we got Spencer Rattler. Wasn't the quarterback I was looking for. I was hoping Penix would fall to us, but everybody knows what happened there. It was kind of a long shot if he did fall. But we're Tennessee people. We don't like Rattler. I mean, he's a solid quarterback, but I don't know. I'm just not a big Spencer Rattler guy. But overall, it was a good draft for the Saints who just fulfilled the spots they needed to fulfill. So they did what they were supposed to do. Hunter?
You might want to make it bigger.
Freaking why out of Okay, so let me paint a picture for you. Oh shoot, Jira, put me on. Let me paint a picture for you. Here, I'm going to stand up for this. So let's say right here is Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins, he's a great quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons paid him $180 freaking million. Good job, Falcons. Then they signed Darrell Mooney, another great pickup for them. They also signed some other guys. They're not really important. Great pickups. The Falcons sitting with the 8th overall pick decide, what do we need? We need, oh, shoot, look at our defensive line. It's getting old. Grady Jarrett, he's old. He plays defensive tackle now. Oh, we don't have any defensive ends. Who's sitting there? I don't know. Just, the entire defensive draft class because, oh, yeah, the first 7 picks were all offense. Anyway, let me review my audible reactions as the Falcons were making their pick. I said, "Oh Lord, please do not screw this up." You can look on my tweets. Oh Lord, please, Falcons, do not screw this up. And I said that if the Falcons take Michael Penix, I will lose my mind. And as I sat there, and the lady comes up there, or Goodell comes up there, and he's like, "And with the 8th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix Jr., quarterback, Washington." And that's when I said, you know what? Just when I thought this franchise would maybe not turn a corner, but actually be smart, for once. No, we can't do that. Listen, Michael Penix, I think, is the second best quarterback coming out of this draft class. I don't hate Michael Penix. No hate to him. But why pick him? It makes no sense. He's 24 years old. When Kirk Cousins' deal ends, he's going to be 28 years old. Why? There's no need, unless you're just worried about Kirk's injury history, which isn't even bad. He tore his Achilles. That's about it. Why do that? Makes zero sense to me. It pisses me off that this is what we decided to do. We don't have a defensive end. I literally don't know why. But then you look at the rest of the draft class. We drafted great. We picked guys that we needed, guys that fill holes that we needed. So why take Michael Penix when you could definitely take a quarterback in the later rounds? It makes no sense to me. It really, I can't wrap my head around it. Why? And really, if you didn't want to pick anybody at the 8th overall pick, trade back, get some value. I'm still very confused by their decision, but I will support Michael Penix through and through. I'll support Kirk Cousins through and through. And I'll support the Atlanta Falcons through and through. So there you go. What's our next topic before I – oh, yeah. College football is back, baby. We got the deluxe edition cover. There we go. It dropped today. It features primarily Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and
Edwards from Michigan.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards from Michigan. It also features a bunch of other players. Great. We also saw some gameplay. Looks pretty spicy. And then we get the full release on the 16th of May, which is 10 days from now. That's when we get a full reveal, or more info, I guess, revealed. It comes out in the summer. I'm so excited I can hardly contain myself. And yeah, that's EA college football. There you go. What's next? Is that it, Pookie's Bear?
Yep.
That's it, Pookie Bear? Oh, no. Is there anything else you boys can think of?
Kentucky Derby.
Oh, yeah. The great Kentucky Derby did take place. I don't even know who won. It was probably some random horse named Majestic.
It was Mystic something. I forgot.
Yeah, Mystic.
I was pretty close.
It was actually pretty entertaining. They had to go to a photo finish.
They did.
Yeah.
I saw something today that compared the Kentucky Derby to just British NASCAR. And now
I
I
saw
can't.
something that it was Amish NASCAR.
Oh, well, there you go. I ruined my joke right there. This is why I don't do stand-up, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I mean, growing up near an Amish country in Kentucky, they like their horses. I never thought you could drift a horse carriage. They drifted a horse carriage somehow. Many people think I'm lying. No, it happened. I saw it. I also moved an entire house across the street one time. I also saw that with my own 2 eyes. Kentucky's a weird place, just like Mark Pope. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up episode 17, unless we can think of anything else on the fly. I don't think so. Remember, Jesus loves you. Have a great week. We'll be back here for episode 18. Keep the eyes glued. Always March episode 1 should be dropping at any moment. Just waiting on a thumbnail. Anyway, follow our socials. Please do. And adios, amigos.